On August 13th of 2020, Rainforest Cafe Chicago closed its doors forever. This was the breaking point for one of the most iconic of the themed restaurant chains from the 90s and early 2000s. The story behind the Rainforest goes far beyond animatronics. From a bizarre beginning to unexpected alliances, let's take a look at the rise and fall of the Rainforest Cafe. This jungle-themed restaurant chain was founded all the way back in 1994. But where did this whole concept come from? The mastermind behind this entire project is Steven Schussler. After selling basically everything he owned, the former advertising salesman covered his house in his restaurant pitch. Artificial waterfalls tumbled down custom-made rock formations, animatronic crocodiles bobbed their heads, and speakers piped in the roar of a tropical thunderstorm. Schussler used 3,700 extension cords to power the 20 different sound systems, lights, and fog pumps for this prototype. Also, animals. 40 tropical birds, 2 150-pound tortoises, a baboon, an iguana, and a bevy of tropical fish housed in 10 300-gallon fish tanks. A greenhouse laboratory he had installed on the roof housed not only a full bar and tables, but also real butterflies, bred to determine how long they would survive and whether they would fall in the food. His neighbors guessed he was running either a temple for devil worship or a bordello. And his local power company decided he was growing marijuana thanks to an outrageous power bill of $2,000. It wasn't long before the Drug Enforcement Agency showed up at his doorstep. Overall, it took him 3 years and almost $400,000 to get the house developed to the point where he felt comfortable showing it to potential investors. It wasn't easy. Investors couldn't see the forest for the trees. They weren't visionaries. But Schussler was. Eventually, as Schussler teetered on financial collapse, a gambling magnate named Lyle Berman, made rich by founding Minneapolis's grand casinos, came by Schussler's homemade jungle. After a few visits, the idea grew on him, and he took a chance on the concept, investing $1.2 million and becoming Rainforest Cafe's first chairman and CEO. Lucky for Schussler and Berman, their home state already had the perfect place to open a rainforest-themed restaurant experience, live animals and all. Bloomington's Mall of America, which had launched just a few years earlier in 1992, was the largest shopping mall in the United States. The Rainforest Cafe opened its doors on February 3, 1994, and within a week, the wait for a table was as much as 3 hours. As the name very clearly suggests, the Rainforest Cafe is focused on the theme of tropical rainforests, one that allows a lot of room for imagination and innovation. Each restaurant of the Rainforest Cafe varies in its specific features, including various elements such as waterfalls, mists, and many rainforest animals, such as gorillas, elephants, snakes, leopards, tigers, crocodiles, and tropical birds. One common theme amongst all the restaurants is a wishing pond, featuring an animatronic crocodile. Guests have to throw coins inside the pond and aim for the crocodile's claws, teeth, mouth, and legs, to name a few. Other recurrent features include bar stools that resemble the legs of an animal and a star ceiling that makes the vibe of the restaurant very dreamy. Rainforest Cafe would be incomplete without its animatronics. Some of the animals featured in the cafes are, in fact, animatronics. These were manufactured by Russell's Creative and have since been one of the key features of the restaurants. Most of the animatronics face diners from elevated platform areas against the wall. Gorillas are the most numerous of the animatronics. There are usually 4 or 5 gorillas in each restaurant, and many locations have a talking tree named Tracy Tree that entertains shoppers. In the beginning, the restaurant also had curators who took care of the location's array of live animals and facility operators who took care of the location's collection of not-so-live animals. Now, of course, such a big franchise can't stand on its own forever. Connections with other companies are needed eventually to climb that good old corporate ladder. Rainforest Cafe did exactly that and partnered with Walt Disney as soon as it got the opportunity, which resulted in 3 Disney locations for the cafe. In the next few years, quite a few Rainforest Cafes would pop up across the United States. As its stock, which started at $6 a share at its initial public offering in April of 1995, went from $22 a share in October of the same year to about $50 in June of 1996, bringing in millions more in capital for further expansion. By 1999, each location was making over $8 million a year, the most revenue per spot of any restaurant in the country. Finally, in 2000, despite Schussler's pleas, Rainforest Cafe was sold to Landry's Restaurants, Inc., a company that also owns over 500 restaurants, hotel, casino, and entertainment destinations, including Bubba Gump Shrimp Company and McCormick & Schmick's. They would also eventually buy Schussler's follow-up theme restaurant concept, T-Rex Cafe. Yes, it's Rainforest Cafe, but with dinosaurs. After the Landry sale, things changed. Menu items, decor, but most importantly, Schussler's live birds, which cost each location $100,000 a year, were scrapped. His original vision had been killed, along with the jobs of many of the animal care specialists and curators. Then came the Great Recession of the late 2000s. Many major companies and industries faced significant financial setbacks throughout America, and theme restaurants also faced this fate. In fact, the whole dining industry had become very saturated at this point. The average American just found it harder to eat out at glamorous and flashy themed restaurants like Rainforest Cafe. These restaurants then saw a decline. Nothing lasts forever, and Rainforest Cafe was gradually finding it difficult to stand the test of time. The recent COVID-19 pandemic has definitely been a big blow. The lockdowns forced a lot of restaurants to shut down for an extended period of time. All of this led to a lot of locations ending their leases and closing down the business, a significant setback indeed. It wasn't just COVID, however. This downfall was inevitable, according to some financial analysts. COVID didn't weaken Rainforest Cafe by itself. It just exposed its underlying weaknesses, which were there before. It was clearly struggling, even before the pandemic. The result? There are now 21 Rainforest Cafes left around the world, a gradual decline of this once mammoth franchise. But all is not lost. Rainforest Cafe is coming into the spotlight once again, thanks to Gen Z and TikTok. TikTok has been known to be the starting point for many viral trends. Some of these trends have been centered on the nostalgia of the 90s and the early 2000s. That's where Rainforest Cafe came in, a symbol of hope and childhood reminiscence for Gen Z folks. What made the cafe memorable was really how over-the-top and intense it was as a whole. Those lightning shows and talking trees sure can leave a mark on a kid's mind. For some, it might invoke a sense of innocence and excitement. The overall aesthetic of the Rainforest Cafe also screamed late 90s and early 2000s, the good old days. It had its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, Rainforest Cafe does have an exceptional legacy. It was undoubtedly a pioneer in the world of themed restaurants and entertainment, and set the tone for many future themed restaurants and cafes. At its prime, it did garner a lot of success and was a household name throughout America. However, its fame crosses borders too, leading to locations around the globe. The Rainforest Cafe is not entirely forgotten yet. On the contrary, it is remembered by many people. Maybe this nostalgia will be the saving grace for the cafe. Or perhaps it might very well turn out to be like one of those forgotten franchises like Blockbuster or Showbiz Pizza Place. Only time will tell. If you like this video, consider subscribing and comment below if you want the Rainforest to make a comeback.